Yeah, it's that time of year again. I make myself tall for the video, you know, there's the chair up. Well, like I said at the beginning, it's that time of year that we brush hog. And why farmers brush hog is going to be different based on each operation. So like a row crop operation, they brush hog around their field for a few reasons. Maybe because, you know, visibility whenever it comes to intersections, and maybe even a little weed control, but probably not in the same manner that we do it. So for us, there's two big reasons that we brush hog. The number one reason is just to keep seeds from any and all species of weeds that we have in our pastures from being able to spread. And we do that, I'll show you how. So we do that by catching weeds that we do not desire, right? So this one specifically, this is called broom sage or sage grass. There's lots of different names for it, but around here, that's what it's called. And you can see all of this white fuzz sticking out. Well, those are gonna be seeds in roughly probably 3 weeks, something like that. So by the time we get done brush hogging, these will be up there and starting to seed. So there's some other weeds that we need to get rid of still. That paddock right there is a solid 80% fescue. It has definitely responded the best out of all of them between spraying, and also it has received turkey litter. None of the others have received turkey litter. They have only received spray, and all of them have received lime to try to bring that pH level where it does not favor, where it doesn't favor the growth of some of these weeds. We do try to get as close to the fence as we can, because we don't want to spray the fence lines if we really don't have to. That is area that can grow grass. The sheep will trim around the fence for you, if it's something they'll eat, of course. So if we can get grass growing throughout there, it saves me a lot of time and effort and money as far as spraying fence lines. As long as I don't catch the fence like that. That's what happens when you get greedy. At least I saved it before I tore anything up. It's about a week later from when we brush hogged everything over here and back towards the kids' treehouse. What I wanted to show you was this. Remember how I said earlier that there's other ways that we can control weeds, and spraying is the other alternative essentially? I don't know how well you can see it on here, but all these yellow spots are all Cerezo lespedeza. It's a really hard weed to get rid of. I'm going to show you what it is here in a second. But keep this in mind, because this reference is going to be important. So what happened was that we sprayed chaparral on all of our land, all 77 acres, sprayed it, and had heard nothing but good things about chaparral as far as killing Cerezo lespedeza. It didn't kill it. It barely hurt it, which was weird. We didn't understand it. Our chemical guy didn't understand it. So we tried another path. So I was like, hey, you know, we're gonna experiment and we're gonna try it on just a few acres. Turn this PTO off. So we told him to say, hey, you know, just give me enough for about 20 or 30 acres, and I'll spray an area and we'll see how well it does. I think this is gonna put it into perspective about how well it's done. So this got sprayed 7 days ago, and you can see a clear difference, not just in height, how it essentially stopped this plant from growing and it's starting to make it die off, but you can see that this one's very bushy and it's still got taller. And you can see that this is basically the line that the sprayer could only reach to, and you can see how it continues up that way a little bit as well. All this over here is completely dead. You can see how it's real yellowed. All of it has done a phenomenal job. So Pasture Guard HL is what we used the second time to experiment with to see if it would even do anything. And Cerezo Lespedeza is very hard to kill. I don't blame the chemical company. I don't blame the chemical guy that we buy from. It's just a really hard plant to kill. It's basically what it comes down to. And what it looks like whenever it's thriving is this. It's a big bushy fern-like plant, and it has a woody stem to it. I mean, it's just hard. Like, even when it's a 130 horsepower tractor, and when you go through a patch of well nourished and growing and thriving Cerezo Lespedeza, the tractor actually bogs down some because it's just that thick. It's hard to cut it. It's a pretty hardy plant. Well, anyways, nothing eats it. And this is what we're talking about is, you know, there's options for weed control. Brush hogging is a good one, especially if you get all your weeds killed off and you brush hog and kind of keep them at bay, keep them from being able to spread. Yeah, you might have some here or there, but you're not going to have a pasture full of it like we do with the Cerezo Lespedeza. We have all of our road front property has Cerezo Lespedeza. Awful. I mean, it barely worked. That chaparral barely worked in one of the paddocks up here. And that was just because I think it was a real thin stand of it and it was able to get it really good, I guess. But those are kind of your options for weed control. And I hate doing chemicals, not just because of the cost, but in reality, there's a better way to do it. And rotational grazing really helps us a lot. It has pushed back on it, but it has not eradicated any of it. So let's get back in here and get back to work. Picked up a passenger too. She's taking a break. She says it's nice and cool in here. What are you doing, Spirit? Being a good girl? Yeah, you're being a good bug. Sunsets sure are nice. Well, if you can't tell, it's the next day. Brush hogging some other paddocks. And it looks like we got some showers that are coming up. So we're actually going to jump over to this next paddock because there's a low spot there. We're going to go over here where the softer area is. Try to knock it out. And I'll try to get you some drone video too before it rains. yeah, for those of you that are wondering, don't mind the gloves. I'm clear coating some cornhole boards that we've had for a while, and they're just due to be re-clear coated. They're not really slick anymore at all. Another fun fact about that piece that we mowed, that's a wet area. We have never mowed that before. This is our first year having a four-wheel drive tractor. So yeah, we're kind of pushing some limits. We have not got stuck yet, and we're trying to keep it that way, because before, when we got stuck with our 7045 Allis Chalmers, wasn't as big of a deal because a four-wheel drive tractor could get us out. If we get stuck with a four-wheel drive tractor, I feel like it's going to be a lot worse stuck, and I don't know that the neighbor's four-wheel drive tractor will get us out. It's a little bit smaller than ours. It's only about 95 horse, which the horsepower is really not as big of a deal because you can change gears to make the ratio of gear work for what horsepower you have. What we can't do is really add enough weight to be able to make it easy for it to pull this. This tractor has weight, or liquid weight, in the tires. All the rear tires are filled. And obviously the loader adds about probably 2,000 pounds, pretty stout. So we're pretty heavy, about 18 and some change is my assumption. We also have weights that we can put on the front, but we don't put them on there unless we're going to do something that we just need that weight. So big progress for us though. Like I said, to haven't been able to do that before. Same thing on the other side. We've never been able to mow that low water area either. So pretty exciting. Well, that's not right. Broke that. Those turnbuckles, as you can see, makes it to where this cam on the end of this rod can be pushed or pulled by that cam. And what that does, as you can see here, is essentially either pushes that wheel down to make it lift the deck, or it will lift that wheel up to let the deck come down. That is why we're not mowing even. See how that the left wing right here is all the way down to the ground, whereas the right wing is even. So every time you go over it, it's a huge difference between the right side of the deck and on the left side of the deck. We're gonna roll with it for now because I don't have any more of those parts. So I'll make it work. So I just happened to catch this. So this is starting to open up to seed out. I don't know how well you're gonna see it on camera, but that's like the cottony, like a dandelion seed that I was talking about, how basically the wind blows it everywhere and it'll carry it really far. And you can see these others are just starting, they're getting there, they're starting to open up. So I would say we're pretty much just on time as far as actually brush hogging them, because once they open up, when you brush hog, they just go everywhere. You could practically say we have a bumper crop when it comes to sage grass. We need to do some fertilizing. Unfortunately, it's just not in the budget. So brush hogging is the next cheapest venture. Most of the pastures have actually transitioned away from sage grass, which is nice, and that's obviously due to the animals defecating and spreading their manure everywhere. So helpful. Ever so slowly, we're getting there. Well, that is going to do it for today, at least. As always, if you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. And of course, like the video. Thanks for watching. Have a blessed week, and we'll see you next time.